All right. Last Monday, Stephen Colbert tore into Donald Trump like a giant orange burrito. Now, before I roll the tape, I must warn you that it's very lewd, so turn it up so everyone can hear it.
You attract more skinheads than free Rogaine. You have more people marching against you than cancer. You talk like a sign language gorilla who got hit in the head. In fact, the only thing your mouth is good for is being Vladimir Putin's holster.
Now, of course, we had to bleep it, but you get the joke. He said Trump was having sex with Putin. Was it offensive? I don't know. I've done worse, often for money, in a hotel room, dressed up as Peter Pan. Predictable outrage ensued with demands that Colbert be fired. 2 days later, he responded.
If you saw my monologue on Monday, you know that I was a little upset with Donald Trump for insulting a friend of mine. So, at the end of that monologue, I had a few choice insults for the president in return. I don't regret that. So while I would do it again, I would change a few words that were cruder than they needed to be.
So he didn't regret the joke, only the language. Again, I don't care. It's jokes, words. If you don't like it, don't listen. But I hope one day those other guys might say the same thing for me. See, Colbert has afforded something I will never have: liberal joke protection. If your heart's in the right place and mine is always in the wrong, then you can say what you want as long as your joke matches the assumptions of your peers. I will never demand an apology, but one will always be demanded from me. It's painfully obvious, but if I made the same joke about President Obama, I'd be frog-marched into the Atlantic with anvils around my neck. But that's okay. I'll defend those who may never defend me, because I'm a nice guy, and they're all Andrew, have you ever been in a situation like this before? Does this infuriate you?
It doesn't. It's just like everybody's a sissy. I accept it. It's fine. I'm cool with it. But this is all the time on Twitter. I get into these things.
Yes, I've seen it with you.
Exactly. Yeah. So it happens. I really don't care what he said. I'm only offended by things that aren't funny. And but I respect the attempt. Like a lot of times I look at comedians as like firemen. It's not your job to save them. It's your job to try.
Yes.
So it's not our job to, you know what I mean? Like when the firemen don't save the people in the burning building, you don't go, you're fired. You know what I mean? You jerks, you know?
I love how you're comparing comedians to firemen.
Listen, I mean,
you're the real hero.
We are. Listen, I do comedy every day. They're mostly just spinning around the pole, you know. So. The point I'm trying to say, there it is, funny comedy things. So I am with going out there. I'm with trying to joke. Did I think that what his rant was that funny? No, but go for it. I think, you know, holstering is a new term that I'll use in my private life. You know, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I've agreed not to say anything about penises in this segment.
That's good. Thank you for that.
So I'm not going to say anything about it.
Excellent. Sorry. Tell a comedian. This is a rule. This is a rule. You tell a comedian not to say something, and it turns a switch on their brain that says, "Now I have to. Now I have to." And if I went home and I didn't, then I would have done something wrong.
Right. What, can we say a doodle-doo holster?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
But
Thank you.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
Stephen Colbert, he missed the point, which is it wasn't that it was crude. It was that it was homophobic. He was going through a list of insults, and the thing that he reached for, that he thought would be the real grand slam, was to make this comment. And remember what we were just listening to. He was comparing being gay to having cancer.
Yeah.
Or being
why
a
was it
skinhead.
homophobic?
No, he wasn't really.
I don't think it was homophobic.
I think
it was
that's a
meant
big
as an
stretch to say he was comparing being gay to having cancer.
It was in the list of insults, and that was
he's
the
saying that
punctuation
holstering a foreign leader is bad, which I think we can all agree. You shouldn't be
holster a foreign leader. Can't trust them. Also, the Nazi Rogaine thing, like Nazis want to be bald. They don't use Rogaine. That made no sense.
Yes, and as somebody
We're forgetting gorillas are people too. I'm often compared to one whenever I lift or walk around the city. And for him to call him dumb and say can't sign language is an outrage, okay? And The last great gorilla got shot with another person, and not on my watch, okay? Sorry, I'm getting upset. Tie's too tight. I want to
R.I.P. Harambe.
Leave gorillas alone.
Cat?
No, your point about how if it was a Democrat, it'd be different. It was a Democratic president. I don't think it's so much that Donald Trump is a Republican, and that's why he felt it was okay to say it. I think it's more because Donald Trump is Donald Trump.
Right, yeah.
He's made it very clear that he's a different kind of dude, and the rules don't really apply as much
No,
to
but
him.
wait a minute. David Schuster, when he was over at MSNBC, he made some remark that the Clintons were pimping out Chelsea.
Oh,
remember
I remember that. Yeah,
and, you know, pimp is a... He did.
But that wasn't a comedian telling a joke.
Right,
that was
but pimp is a word you can actually use on television, and he got fired for it. So there is a double standard. And
I think there is.
Absolutely.
And the other thing, too, is, you know, you always, to Andrew, if you could answer this before we move on, without using the P word.
I won't.
People always talk about, like, oh, there are no edgy right-wing comics, but there's, you know, but it's because edgy, as defined in the world of comedy, is something that Colbert would do, but if anybody on the right did it, they would be crucified, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Malice made a great point about this. He says what the left does, and I'm saying this as a liberal, is what we do is when we don't like somebody, to avoid a debate, we make them radioactive.
Right, yeah.
You're a sexist, you're a homophobe, you're an Islamophobe. Now I don't even have to engage with your ideas because you're radioactive. Get away from me.
When are you going to make me radioactive?
Right after a holstering.
Okay. I walked into that one. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get a call on Monday. But you know what? It's worth it because so far it's been a great show. Yeah.